Hello everyone, welcome back to another 1v1 Warhammer battle. This is going to be the Greenskins versus the Empire. And we have set up on opposite sides of the map. For my army, we have a front line of Orc Boys with two nasty Skulkers on the flanks. You have one Orc Biggin being led by Skarsnik. We also have the Night Goblin Shaman, the Arachnarok Queen over here, and then I brought two artillery pieces, just a Doom Diver and then the Hammer of Gork. The Goblobber is the dwarf unit. Over here on the flank, we have two Goblin Wolf Riders, and then we have the Mangy Marauders and the Death Creepers out here in a Vanguard deployment. For the Empire player, they are being led by a General of the Empire. They have a front line of the Tattersouls and three Swordsmen, which one of is the Sigmar Sons. We have three Great Swords, a Jade Wizard, Amber Wizard, the Sunmaker, two Spearmen, and then a Demigryph Knight with Halberd unit currently hiding in the forest. I think that's it. Yeah, I think I caught everything. So initially, I am going to split up our skirmish cav because I didn't want them to discover my Death Creepers, because I want them to roll all the way around and try and take out the Sunmaker. Unfortunately, though, the enemy is actually going to keep their Sunmaker pretty close to their army and not let it get dragged behind that much. I was hoping that they would do that, but they're not going to do that, so we're going to have to engage them a little bit closer to the enemy army than I would originally want to. In the meantime, we are currently just kind of skirmishing with the General of the Empire, trying to do some armor-piercing damage with the Mangy Marauders, and then our army is going to get repositioned like this, and then we're going to pull up our artillery to try and get in range of their Great Swords, which is what they are going to be hitting for most of the game. Is going to be their target. Right now, I believe I turned off fire at will because I didn't want them to shoot into the swordsmen, because I'm not really afraid of the swordsmen. I want them to shoot into the great swords and the General of the Empire. So right here, we are going to sit right next to the swordsmen and manually target these great swords and start doing some armor-piercing damage on them. And again, I'm just kind of getting behind them with the Death Creeper, or with the Death Creepers. I took a wide angle around this forest because I thought maybe something was hidden in there, and now that's when they're going to pull out the Demigryph Knight, so it's a good thing that I did. So far we are not discovered, and I want to pull up behind the Sunmaker and start to destroy it. The General of the Empire is going to kind of run off our Mangy Marauders here for a bit, but we will come back, and I think we're going to just shoot him. Some of the arrows miss. That's okay. Right now, artillery is still getting in range, and they're about to lay down some fire on these great swords. And again, you can see that the enemy is not really marching their army forward. I really wanted them to leave the Sunmaker behind. And the thing is, the Sunmaker expends its ammo really quickly. So as soon as it starts to fire, like, you don't have much time before it's going to be empty, and then there's no point in trying to take it out at that point. So I'm going to engage it right now with our Death Creepers, trying to get some damage in on their crew. You can see that our artillery is starting to come down. The Demigryph Knights are marching across the field, so I'm going to be pulling in our nasty Skulkers, getting our infantry closer, and then I'm going to summon a Spiderling unit from the Arachnarok Queen to try and stop the Demigryph Knights. In the meantime, the Sunmaker is starting to open up, and you can see they've already done doing some damage to our Orc Biggins and some Orc Boys. Over here, there come these Spiderling summons. We're going to pin them in here. They are going to do some damage to the Hammer of Gork, but I'm going to be getting our nasty Skulkers in there. Then we're going to put down the smoke bombs, so their speed is going to be drastically decreased. And you can see we're going to start dealing a lot of damage because we are winning combat decisively. So their nasty skulking ability, the sneaky stabbing or nasty stabbing or whatever, it's going to proc, so their armor piercing damage to poison, so they're going to be slowing them even more and dealing a lot of damage. You can see we have them almost down to half health from a nasty Skulker and a summoned Spiderling Hatchling. Meanwhile, back here, the Spearmen over here are going to be chasing me off, so I'm currently micromanaging that, my infantry, these units, and then also my Mangy Marauders to try and keep them away from the General of the Empire. So my micro back here was kind of laxing. I did a quick shift and movement order, but they got caught by the Spearmen, so I'm going to have to give a couple more move orders on the Death Creepers because I want to charge these Sunmakers to shut them up, basically, because they're doing a lot of damage to our Orc Boys. But by the time I finally get in there, again, because I got caught by the Spearmen, I didn't realize that because I was focusing on other things. They've actually already almost expended all their ammunition anyway, so now at this point it's like, well, like, here we go, we're going to charge in, and when we charge in, actually most of the units go into the Great Swords and into the front line. And so we're going to take a lot of damage here, and we're basically not really stopping much ammunition at this point. So I'm going to try and pull out, so we're going to take like half of our health and damage, so that's kind of, this is all just a big giant X on what just happened over there. Not worth at all. Meanwhile, the Demigryph Knights are going to come back in to try and take out the Hammer of Gork, but our nasty Skulkers are still sitting there. I'm going to hit them with the Itchy Nuisance, I think. Yeah, we hit them with the Itchy Nuisance. We're going to run them off again. Just trying to protect our siege engines with our nasty skulkers with our mangy marauders now doing some damage. Now they're going to try to do a rear charge in the Doomdiver catapult, so we're going to summon the spiderlings, which is going to blunt their charge here. Luckily, or else the Doomdiver probably would have been routed instantaneously. Then we're going to catch up with the nasty skulkers and try to get the Arachnoid Queen in there, but then I take her back at the last moment because we terrified them. For some reason, my Orc Biggin unit was moving out all the way out here and just got kind of sniped by the Sunmaker, but now you can see it's out of ammo. It's done all it's going to be able to do, so it almost destroyed an Orc Boy and took our Orc Biggin below half. That's still not that bad, considering this thing costs, God, how much does the Sunmaker cost? 1,800? Close to 2,000, I think, is how much it costs. It's really expensive, 1,750, somewhere around there. And the Orc Boy is only like 450, and the Orc Biggin is 750, I think, 700, 750. So point-wise, it didn't really make up its cost. That's how I'll justify not being able to shut that bastard down. Although at the same time, I guess we did also lose most of our Death Creepers trying to take it out. So in the end, maybe it did actually do a lot of work. Partly on my bad, because I charged these guys into the rears of great swords and trying to shut it down. But anyway, now that that's over with, we're getting back into formation. The General of the Empire is going to charge our Orc Boy flank, so I'm going to summon some more Spiderlings behind him to try and pin him down. We're going to get these nasty skulkers over here and hit him with a smoke bomb to slow him down, get the Arachnoid Queen in here as well. Now, you may think I have forgotten about my Wolf Riders. Of course I didn't forget about my Wolf Riders. It wasn't like I was playing the game in this view and totally forgot about them on the side. Come on. What kind of noob do you think I am? They're just being held back for a strategic time in the future, is what their two are doing over there on the other side of the hill, outside of my sight range, and the enemies, because they're invisible to them because they're downhill. Anyway, the main line is going to be meeting now swordsmen on Orc Boys over here. Going to throw the nasty skulkers around. Our siege engines are still fine, even though they got charged. All 3 of the units per group are still firing, and they're firing into the greatswords. So you can see that we have done a lot of damage to the 3 greatsword units here, here, and then right over here. I summoned another spiraling group to slow down the 2 other greatsword units, just to keep them away from the frontline battle for as long as they can. We have a Flock of Doom being dropped by the Amber Wizards. We have heal spells being dropped by the Jade Wizard. That actually is going to keep the General of the Empire alive. By the time that he escaped this, I'm not going to call it a trap, but this encounter, he was at about half health, but then they cast Regrowth on him, so he's now back up to basically full. Now he's on Skarsnik. Skarsnik does have anti-large damage, so I wanted him to do a lot of damage here. The bad news is, though, our Orc Boys have already withdrawn from this combat, so Skarsnik is alone, so I'm going to have to throw in our Orc Biggins into this combat right there. I casted a Curse to the Big Bad Moon, because I haven't seen it for so long. I cast it right here, and as most Vortex spells do, it just went like, and totally sucked. Why ever cast Vortex spells? I have no idea. They suck. They just suck. CA, they suck. God, and they look so cool. But anyway, Curse of Big Bad Moon just totally whiffed and went nowhere. As all Vortex spells do. In the meantime, Skarsnik is now terrified and was just overwhelmed by the Tattersouls, these great swords, and the General of the Empire, who's being healed once again by the Earthblood from the Jade Wizard, who's sitting back here. Now, I did not bring my Goblin Big Bosses this time because I bring them in every single Greenskin battle, so I thought, you know what? Let's just leave them home for at least one of these battles so we could change it up a little bit. But if I had them, I would have had them over here in the Jade Wizard trying to assassinate him, because damn, his healing is very annoying. Meanwhile, over here, for some reason, I popped a Smoke Bomb on the Spearman. I don't know. Listen, don't question it. I'm sure I had a reason. But in the meantime, the General of the Empire was still chasing Skarsnik, so we're going to try and pin him down with whatever units nearby. So that means the Death Creepers, the Arachnoid Queen, and these Orc Biggins. Yeah, Orc Biggins. We also just ran in our Mangy Marauders into this group to try and... I'm not sure actually why I did that. I guess just because they were almost out of ammo, or they were out of ammo, so I just charged them into the fight hoping to support it. But they're going to rout. I think they do come back. Meanwhile, on the right flank, the Demigryph Knights did come back, but we were chasing them off again with the Nasty Skulkers. We did more damage to them. These units are going to be pulled back into the fight soon-ish. So the right flank at least went my way because the Arachnoid Queen was right there, so we did really well. But Skarsnik over here in the meantime was mostly murdered. He did come back from rounding, so we're going to meet up with the rest of our forces here, and then we're going to engage with this pocket of resistance right there. And the General of the Empire is going to charge Skarsnik once again after combat is met here on both sides. And he's going to be kind of singled out by the General of the Empire. Over here, we have now used up all of our ammunition on the Hammer of Gork, and I believe also the Doomdiver, so they have done their job well. They did a lot of damage to the Greatswords, so now it's time for them to get in the battle. So I'm actually going to throw them against the Sunmaker crew here soon-ish. And now is when my strategic surprise attack from the Goblin Wolf Riders are going to happen. They're going to come down and join this battle. Again, totally put their to save for later in the battle. Not a mistake. I did not forget them at all. I never forget my units. But anyway, the main battle is happening right here, and you can see the General of the Empire is again trying to kill out Skarsnik. He's going to re-terrify him once more, and he's actually going to finish Skarsnik off. While in the meantime, I am trying to kill the General. You can see he cannot regenerate anymore. He's regenerated all he can because the Jade Wizard has healed him over and over again. He hasn't even popped his health potion yet. He still has the Potion of Toughness. He was all healed through the 2 spells of the Jade Wizard through all this. So right now, my Goblin, Night Goblin Shaman, who is mostly out of Winds of Magic, was in this fight, so he is getting overwhelmed by the forces that remain over here, including both of the Wizards. And my other units were just routing off because of terror, but luckily they're coming back now that they have recovered from being terrified. Going to throw my Ragnarok Queen back in there. My Wolf Riders, I just threw into this group to try and stall them, and I'm going to pull them back out because they cannot win this battle. You can see they're already routing. Going to pull back my second Goblin Wolf Rider to try and save them for a little bit later. We have more units coming back from routing over here. They will be joining the battle here shortly. But you can see that my Night Goblin Shaman is going to be targeted out by the General of the Empire. Luckily enough, though, we are routing or destroying what is left of this pocket of resistance over here. And now we're trying to focus on the Jade Wizard and the Amber Wizard. And I think right here is when I'm going to sick my Goblin Wolf Riders onto the General of the Empire to try and slow him down. And then we're going to chase him with the Ragnarok Queen. As well as these actually, the Nasty Skark is going to get terrified here in a moment. Yep, there we go. Terror is a pain in the ass. But that's okay, because he's so focused on trying to kill my Night Goblin Shaman that I'm going to surround him with these Goblin Wolf Riders who are active, because again, I strategically kept them out of the battle, so for this very purpose, to be able to chase down units, because they're active, they're not tired, which means they're not slow, so they're just going to stick on the General of the Empire. We're going to get that Ragnarok Queen over there. My rest of my units over here are going to be routing from the combat with the Wizards, what remains of the Tattered Souls, and now these other forces coming in, so we're going to do another rear charge on them to try and slow them down once again. Getting our Nasty Skulkers are going to take a long path around like this. And I'm just now focused on trying to kill the General of the Empire. He needs to die. He has done so much pain to my army, killing Skarsnik and dealing, terror damage and all that stuff. Well, not damage terror, but, making my units rout over and over and over again. And luckily for us, because of our active, now winded Goblin Wolf Riders, they're going to stay up with them, and eventually he is going to fall to these units because he just cannot escape. The Wolf Riders are pinning him on the ground. Our Night Goblin Shaman is going to come back from routing, and right now I'm trying to get these forces, and I'm going to run them around like this because I want them to meet up with the forces here and then do a final engagement against the Swordsmen and what remains of their Wizards. These 3 units were chasing my Wolf Riders for a little bit, so now they are trying to chase my infantry, but they are very tired, so they're not going to be able to catch up to them as long as keep them moving. And here we're just going to get the final few hits in on the General of the Empire, who again cannot escape. They pop their Potion of Toughness, but they cannot heal because they've already regenerated or been healed as much as they can. And now they do die. There we go. General of the Empire is now dead. So the Ragnarok Queen, who is still sitting at full health, basically full health, is going to be charging into the Swordsmen. We're going to hit them with the Death Creepers because they still have ammunition left. And then we're going to run in our Goblin Wolf Riders. Goblin Knight Shaman is going to be casting Itchy Nuisance. Yeah, Itchy Nuisance on the forces here. You can see we have terrified the Swordsmen. And now the morale of the Wizards are very shaky, so that's when we're going to charge on our Goblin Wolf Riders. And they are going to break and be terrified because they are not immune to terror. And that is when the army is going to rout. So my strategic... not withdrawal, but like my strategic timing of the Goblin Wolf charge was perfect. The plan worked flawlessly to get them in the battle at the very end to try and pin down the General of the Empire. It's like I could see the future and I knew what they needed to do, So luckily that all, came into place and totally didn't forget about them. But good game to our opponent. Let's take a look at the kill count. That was kind of a rough battle. I was very worried. Because the thing is, the Ragnarok Queen, if you break the rest of the army, the Queen isn't unbreakable. So she could definitely just rout due to friendly losses. So you don't necessarily have to kill her. And if my units, because they look like they were all on the edge of routing, so if they all did a chain rout, it's a very good chance that the Queen would have just routed off the field as well, and I would have lost. So that was definitely, I think, on the edge of going either way, honestly. Frontline of Orc Boys did pretty well against the Swordsman, Spearmen, and... I guess Sigmar's Sons. The Tattered Souls raking in 123 kills. Whoo! That is a lot of kills for the Tattered Souls. My Nasty Skulkers basically dealt with the Demigryph Knights, which is kind of crazy. The Queen did amazing. The Hammer of Gork and the Doomdiver Catapult did amazing, just taking out the Great Swords. But you can see they still did some damage. The Demigryph Knights killed some Nasty Skulkers. I think that's it. They tried to take out my Siege, but I was able to save them before anything bad happened. And the Sunmaker only got 65 kills, which is not really what you want to see with the Sunmaker. You want to see that a little bit higher, let's say like around 200 or so. So luckily enough, that did not happen. And the Wizards in general did excellent for Sombra. And I think that's it. Yeah. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. Let's take a look at a cinematic view. And once again, good game to my opponent, Sombra. Sunmaker looks so cool. Oh man, look at those spiders rise up. I think it's a very good use of spiders to use them to halt the charge of enemy shock cav. It works so well.
Die, greenskin scum!
No. Ah, I want to see it. Oh well. I think those Demigryph. Yeah, here they come. Nasty Skulkers say no. And there's about to be some creepy crawlies. Creepy crawlies! Oh! What happened to your charge? That smoke bomb was just a little too late. I should have probably put the Doomdiver Catapult into these Tattersouls, man. God, they got so many kills. Overshot the target a little bit. It's okay. We were so close to killing the general right here. They got that regrowth off, and then he managed to punch through these spiders, and then we collided with the swordsman spearman. So close. And these spiders get these two units kind of pinned down for a little bit, so we just had free fire of our artillery pieces. It's pretty cool. Coward orc boys! Left Skarsnik alone to die! Stupid curse of the Big Bad Moon. And the nasty Skulkers, dude, just the bane of these Timogriff Knights. Love him. And he's gonna get away once again. Ah, that's a shame. The Skarsnik is back! Rally! And then the Wolf Riders arrive! They're here to save the day! A Wolf Rider is never late, nor is he early. You know the rest. I still think Wolf Riders are so good. For only 300, God, they're so good. Maybe not in this particular matchup against Greatsword, Spears, and Swordsmen, but you know, they have their uses. Yeah, get back, Amber Wizard. Can't touch this. Where do you think you're going? The Queen's coming after you, buddy. Slowly but surely, she's gonna catch you. She's gonna catch you. And she caught you. Look at these little puppies. And those swordsmen just like immediately ran. Ooh. That one went for a trip. And that's it. So thanks again for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you all next time. Take care.